One NASCAR legend was banned before it even touched the track. Officials said it was simply too fast to exist.
It was June 10th, 1955, a day that changed stock car racing forever. Some cars were so fast, so innovative, that NASCAR couldn't allow them on the track. Today I'll show you 5 legendary machines that weren't just banned, they rewrote the rules, shocked the officials, and still leave fans speechless. And by the end of this video, I'll reveal one secret about these cars that will completely blow your mind. Number 1. 1979 Pontiac Grand Prix Aero Coupe. It was 1979, and NASCAR racing was about to witness something unbelievable. Imagine a car so fast, so perfectly designed, that it made every other car on the track look slow. This was the Pontiac Grand Prix Aero Coupe, driven by the legendary Darrell Waltrip. At first, it looked like a normal Pontiac, but once it hit the track, its long nose, smooth body, and carefully shaped rear made it slice through the air like a missile. Other drivers had no idea what hit them. Darrell Waltrip, known for his daring skills, immediately realized he was in something extraordinary. On the track, the engine roared like thunder, the tires clung to the asphalt, and the car flew through turns effortlessly. Spectators couldn't believe their eyes. Some fans even whispered, "How is this even possible?" Every race, the Grand Prix dominated so completely that it seemed almost unfair. Other drivers were left frustrated and amazed at the same time. NASCAR officials were in shock. They had never seen a car like this. Its aerodynamic advantage was so extreme that it threatened the balance of every race. Officials had to make a tough decision, either allow it to keep racing or change the rules. They chose to update the body templates so that no other car could match its speed and design. Can you imagine a single car forcing a whole sport to rewrite its rulebook? That's exactly what happened. But here's the part that will blow your mind. The Grand Prix wasn't just fast, it set the blueprint for every modern NASCAR car. Engineers studied its curves, its angles, and even its spoilers for decades after. Every aerodynamic tweak you see today can trace its roots back to this single groundbreaking Pontiac. Fans were on the edge of their seats every race. The excitement, the fear, and the pure shock of seeing a car dominate like that made every lap unforgettable. You might think you've seen fast cars, but this one redefined the meaning of speed. This car is a perfect example of how innovation, bravery, and perfect design can change history. Darrell Waltrip and the Pontiac Grand Prix Aero Coupe didn't just win races, they rewrote the rules of NASCAR, shocked the officials, and inspired generations of engineers. And if you watch the rest of this video, I promise, you'll see even more cars that were so fast and powerful that NASCAR simply couldn't allow them to compete, and the stories behind them are even crazier than this one. Number 2, 1983 Buick Regal Turbo. It was the early 1980s, and NASCAR tracks were filled with cars that were fast, but nothing compared to what Buick had in store. Enter the 1983 Buick Regal Turbo, a car so powerful that it seemed like it was breaking the laws of racing itself. At first glance, it looked like a normal Regal, but under the hood, its turbocharged engine had the ability to produce explosive speed that left other drivers in awe and fear. The moment it hit the track, the roar of its engine made spectators lean forward, hearts pounding, wondering how is this even possible. Bobby Allison drove the non-turbo version in competitions, but behind the scenes, Buick had tested turbo engines that were almost unfair. Every time the car accelerated, it shot forward with a power that seemed impossible for a stock car. Other drivers tried to match its speed, but the Turbo Regal had too much advantage, almost like a machine built to cheat nature itself. Spectators gasped as it zoomed past, making every other car look ordinary in comparison. NASCAR officials were stunned. They had never seen a stock car with such raw power. The turbo engine gave an unmatched boost, and it became clear that if these cars raced unrestricted, competition would be meaningless. After much debate, NASCAR took the unprecedented step of banning turbocharged engines, forcing teams back to naturally aspirated V8s. Can you imagine the tension in the garages? Engineers and drivers had worked months to unlock every bit of this speed, only to be stopped by the rulebook. It was shocking, controversial, and unforgettable. But the Buick Regal Turbo left more than just a story of domination. It changed how people thought about engineering in NASCAR. Engineers studied its turbo system, how it managed airflow, pressure, and acceleration, and many ideas were later applied in safer, regulated ways. Fans still remember the thrill, the fear, and the awe of seeing a stock car explode off the line with turbocharged power, and why NASCAR had to step in. And here's the part that makes it even more amazing. The Buick Regal Turbo wasn't just about speed, it pushed NASCAR into a new era of thinking about what a stock car could do. It showed that innovation could be so extreme that officials had no choice but to intervene. The rules changed forever, but the legend of the Turbo Regal lives on. A car that was too fast, too daring, and too shocking for its time. Every time you watch NASCAR today, remember that some of the innovations like engine efficiency, power management, and performance limits have their roots in cars like this. The 1983 Buick Regal Turbo wasn't just a race car, it was a challenge to the system, a lesson in creativity, and a true spectacle that left drivers, officials, and fans speechless and amazed. Number 3. 2003 Dodge Charger Template Car. In 2003, NASCAR faced a modern challenge that would shock everyone on the track. The Dodge Charger Template Car, driven by Ryan Newman for Team Penske, looked like any other race car at first glance, but its design hid a secret weapon. Engineers had found loopholes in NASCAR's body templates, giving this car a hidden aerodynamic edge. Every curve, every angle, every spoiler was perfectly shaped to reduce drag and increase speed. When the Charger hit the track, it didn't just compete, it dominated. Fans watching the races were amazed. The car seemed to glide through corners effortlessly and rocket down straights with unbelievable speed. Other drivers struggled to keep up, often frustrated and confused, asking themselves, how is this car so fast and smooth? The Charger's advantage wasn't just power, it was science and engineering in motion. A perfect combination of human skill and mechanical genius. NASCAR officials quickly realized something was wrong. The Dodge Charger was technically legal, but the aerodynamic tweaks gave it an unfair advantage. It was dominating races in a way that no car should, and officials had to act fast. They decided to revise the body template rules to eliminate the loopholes, effectively banning this version of the Charger from using its full advantage. The controversy shook the racing world. Engineers argued, teams debated, and fans were on the edge of their seats, witnessing a car that had literally forced the sport to rewrite its rulebook. But the story doesn't end there. The Dodge Charger template car showed how modern engineering could push the boundaries of NASCAR. It wasn't just about speed, it was about strategy, innovation, and pushing the limits of what was possible under the rules. Ryan Newman's driving skill made the car's potential fully visible, turning every race into a spectacle of precision and power. And here's the shocking part that will keep you watching. This car changed how NASCAR designs rules forever. Teams became more aware of aerodynamic details. Engineers started thinking like the Charger's designers. And every car built afterward had to consider every curve, every surface, and every line to compete. Fans still remember the excitement, the disbelief, and the debates sparked by this car. It was not just a Dodge Charger, it was a game changer, a car that proved innovation could challenge the sport itself, leaving both officials and spectators speechless. The 2003 Dodge Charger template car teaches us that in NASCAR, rules, speed, and design are always evolving. And sometimes, one brilliant car is enough to shock the world and force everyone to catch up. Number 4. 1966 Chevrolet Chevelle Smokey Yunick Special. In 1966, NASCAR racing was entering a new era, but no one could have predicted the storm that was about to hit the tracks. That storm had 4 wheels and a Chevrolet badge. The 1966 Chevrolet Chevelle built by Smokey Yunick, a man whose reputation as a genius and rebel was already legendary. Smokey didn't just build cars, he created machines that broke the rules without breaking the law. And the Chevelle he crafted was the ultimate example of his brilliance, cunning, and audacity. When the Chevelle first appeared on the track, it looked ordinary to the untrained eye. Its paint was standard, its body seemed normal, and its lines didn't scream dangerous machine. But once Curtis Turner, one of NASCAR's boldest and most skilled drivers, slid behind the wheel, it became immediately clear that this car was something extraordinary. The Chevelle moved faster than it should have. It handled corners with a precision that seemed almost impossible. Its acceleration left competitors bewildered. Fans in the stands were whispering, pointing, and holding their breath. Some couldn't believe what they were seeing. The Chevelle didn't just win races, it controlled them, seemingly predicting every turn and every move of the other cars. But the true shock came when NASCAR officials began inspecting the car. At first they thought it was just a skilled driver, but race after race, the Chevelle kept performing beyond expectations. Officials noticed strange things. The car could go longer distances without refueling. It seemed smaller and lighter than allowed, and its speed and stability were unmatched. What was happening? How could a car built under normal regulations outperform the rest so completely? The answer lay in Smokey Yunick's unparalleled ingenuity. Every inch of the Chevelle had been meticulously engineered. The fuel system was secretly modified with oversized fuel lines, allowing the car to hold more fuel and run longer than anyone else. The body of the car had been subtly shrunk in areas that were nearly impossible to measure, giving it a slight weight and aerodynamic advantage that translated into incredible performance. The suspension, the engine, even the smallest components had been adjusted to perfection. Smokey had turned a stock-looking Chevrolet into a machine that, on the track, seemed almost supernatural. Drivers and competitors were stunned. Curtis Turner could feel the advantage under him. Every turn felt sharper, every straightaway faster. But NASCAR officials were confused, frustrated, and shocked. They had never seen such creative manipulation of the rules. The Chevelle seemed to bend the regulations without technically breaking them. It was a masterclass in both engineering and strategy, and it forced NASCAR to confront a reality they hadn't fully anticipated. Some cars, and the people behind them, were simply too clever. Fans were enthralled. Each race was a spectacle, with spectators watching in awe as the Chevelle sliced through the track, leaving other cars struggling to keep up. The excitement, fear, and disbelief created an electric atmosphere that no other car had achieved. The Chevelle wasn't just racing, it was rewriting what fans thought was possible in NASCAR. Some whispered that it was unfair, others called it genius, but everyone agreed it was unforgettable. NASCAR tried to contain the Chevelle. Officials repeatedly inspected the car, fined teams, and eventually banned certain setups, trying to limit its performance. Yet Smokey Yunick's machine always seemed to find a new way to gain an edge. It became one of the most repeatedly banned cars in NASCAR history. Each time the Chevelle raced, it tested not only the competitors but also the very rules of the sport. It forced NASCAR to become more precise, more detailed, and more aware of how far teams could push the limits of engineering. The emotional impact of the Chevelle cannot be overstated. Fans felt a thrill unlike any other. They were witnessing a car that combined brilliance, daring, and audacity. Drivers were challenged in ways they had never imagined, and NASCAR officials were forced into a constant game of adaptation, trying to keep the races fair without squashing innovation. The Chevelle became more than a race car. It became a symbol of intelligence meeting boldness, a machine that demanded respect from everyone it encountered. Here's the part that will truly shock many viewers. Smokey Yunick's Chevelle wasn't just about winning races or bending rules. It influenced the future of NASCAR engineering. Many design strategies, safety measures, and competitive regulations in later years were inspired directly by the Chevelle's innovative setups. Engineers studied its hidden modifications, aerodynamic tweaks, and fuel systems for decades, learning lessons that still inform racing today. The car was not just a moment of brilliance. It was a turning point, a masterpiece that reshaped the sport. The 1966 Chevrolet Chevelle remains a legend. It's remembered as the car that challenged authority, dazzled fans, and forced NASCAR to rethink its rules. Curtis Turner, Smokey Yunick, and this incredible machine created a story of shock, excitement, and innovation that still fascinates racing enthusiasts. It's a perfect example of how one car, built with skill, cunning, and creativity, can leave a mark on history that no speed, no victory, and no rulebook can erase. Number 5. 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air Small Block V8 Debut Car. In 1955, NASCAR was on the brink of a revolution. Chevrolet introduced a car that would change stock car racing forever, the Bel Air with the new small block V8 engine. This wasn't just another car on the track. It was a machine built to dominate, to innovate, and to shock everyone who saw it. Herb Thomas, one of the bravest and most skilled drivers of the era, got behind the wheel and immediately felt that this was something extraordinary. The moment he pushed the accelerator, the car seemed alive. It wasn't just fast, it was intimidatingly powerful, and its potential left competitors stunned. From the first race, the Bel Air made its mark. Fans and spectators could barely believe what they were witnessing. The small block V8 engine gave the car explosive acceleration that sent it flying down the straightaways, leaving other cars struggling to keep up. But it wasn't just speed, it was balance, control, and precision. In turns, the Bel Air hugged the track perfectly. Its stability made it feel as if the car was reading the road ahead, And that combination of raw power and flawless handling was something no one had seen before. People in the stands gasped in shock. Drivers whispered in disbelief. How can one engine make such a difference? Herb Thomas, feeling the car's potential under his hands, pushed it to its limits. Every lap, every turn, the Bel Air seemed to perform better than expected. It quickly became obvious that this small block V8 was more than just a new engine. It was a game changer. NASCAR officials started to take notice. They had always tried to maintain fairness, but this car was dominating races in ways that left other competitors frustrated and amazed. Its speed, handling, and endurance created a dilemma: allow innovation to thrive or enforce limits to protect competition. After much observation, NASCAR decided to implement restrictions on the small block V8 for certain events. They realized that if this engine continued unrestricted, it could overpower the entire field and make races predictable. The restrictions were a sign of how powerful and revolutionary the Bel Air truly was. Even with these limits, its impact on the sport was undeniable. It wasn't just winning races, it was teaching drivers, engineers, and fans that a single innovation could reshape the rules of racing forever. Fans were electrified every time the Bel Air took the track. The roar of the engine, the thrill of its acceleration, and the sheer spectacle of watching a car dominate every lap created unforgettable moments. Spectators experienced awe and excitement in equal measure. Drivers felt a mixture of fear and respect. NASCAR officials, often tense and cautious, were forced into constant observation, adjusting rules, and carefully monitoring the competition. The 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air had become a story that everyone on and off the track would remember. But the story goes even deeper. The small block V8 engine in this car didn't just impact races in 1955, it set the standard for future stock car racing. Engineers studied its design, its power delivery, and its handling characteristics. The Bel Air became a blueprint for what a high-performance stock car engine could achieve. Its innovations influenced racing strategies, engine designs, and safety regulations for decades to come. The car was more than a competitor, it was a teacher, a pioneer, and a legend. Here's the shocking part. The 1955 Bel Air wasn't just fast. It was so dominant that it forced NASCAR to rethink competition rules. Every race it entered became a lesson in how innovation can disrupt even the most established sports. It showed that when engineering brilliance meets courage behind the wheel, the result can be historic. Herb Thomas didn't just drive a car, he piloted a revolution, one lap at a time. The emotional impact of this car is unforgettable. Fans cheered, laughed, and gasped as the Bel Air carved its way through the field. Drivers were pushed to their limits, forced to adapt or be left behind. NASCAR had to balance fairness with the thrill of innovation. And all the while, the small block V8 roared, reminding everyone that some cars are not just machines, they are history in motion. The 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air is remembered not only for its victories, but for its influence on NASCAR forever. It taught the world that speed, innovation, and daring could challenge rules, inspire engineers, and leave a legacy that lasts for generations. In many ways, it was the car that showed stock car racing how far it could go, proving that one car with the right engine and driver could change everything. Its story is a mix of shock, awe, emotion, and excitement, a perfect example of why some cars are remembered not just for winning, but for redefining the sport itself. From the 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air to the 2003 Dodge Charger template car, these machines weren't just fast, they were legendary, rule-breaking and history-making. Each car challenged NASCAR in its own way, forcing officials to rethink rules, inspiring engineers to innovate, and leaving fans in shock and awe. Some were banned, some were restricted, yet every one of them left an indelible mark on the sport, proving that innovation, courage, and creativity can change everything. What makes these cars unforgettable isn't just their speed, it's the story behind them. The engineers who pushed limits, the drivers who mastered their machines, and the races that kept fans on the edge of their seats. These cars remind us that in NASCAR, rules are made to challenge innovation, not stop it, and sometimes one brilliant machine can shape the future of the sport forever. If you've enjoyed this journey through the cars NASCAR couldn't catch, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another Regal Rides story. Comment below which car shocked you the most and why. Do you think you would have dared to drive these machines at their limits? Thank you for joining us on this ride through speed, innovation, and history. Remember, in the world of NASCAR, it's never just about crossing the finish line, It's about pushing boundaries, rewriting rules, and leaving a legacy that fans will remember for generations. Until next time, keep your engines roaring, your eyes on the track, and your love for cars alive.